Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first stream of 2023. Well, technically the second stream because I did the Bring in the New Year. Today, we're going to be looking at some new MacBook Pros and Mac Mini with the M2 processor and the M2 Pro processor. And we'll have a look at what they'll bring. And also, just a special treat for you all today, and save me doing multiple videos, is I'm going to do a live stream install of Windows 8.1 to celebrate the end of support of Windows 8.1, an operating system that has been running for over 10 years. And just because of Microsoft policies, it has come to an end. And it's probably one of the most controversial operating systems in probably the history of Microsoft. I actually didn't mind it, and I'll tell you why when we get into it. So I'm going to start off with the Apple talk, get that done and out of the way for everybody. I'm just going to have to share the screen. And we're going to do Chrome tab, and we're going to do Apple. So you'll notice with these machines, right, guys, they look the same. That the design hasn't changed too much. So they come with an M2 Pro, M2 Pro Max with the MacBooks, and the Mac Mini comes with an M2 and an M2 Pro. Let's have a look. We'll go learn more. We'll do the MacBook Pro first. As you can see here, this is the 14 and 16-inch models. The design looks very similar. So Mover Maker, Boundary Breaker. Supercharged by the M2 Pro and M2 Max, MacBook Pro takes its power and efficiency further than ever. It delivers exceptional performance whether it's plugged in or not. It now has the even longer battery life. Combined with a stunning liquid retina XDR display and all the ports you need, this is a pro laptop without equal. It starts from $3,199. So, these are pricey, but at the end of this, we'll have a look at all the prices. Supercharged by M2 Pro, M2 Pro Max. So it has up to 12-core CPU, up to 19-core GPU, that's the Pro model, and up to 32-gig unified memory with 200 gigs of memory bandwidth. And then the M2 Max, has a 12-core CPU with up to 38-core GPU, which that is going to be pretty beefy. Up to 96 gig of unified memory and 400 gig memory bandwidth. So obviously the Max is obviously going to be better performance over the Pro. But still, they're both pretty good chips. Introducing the next generation of Apple Silicon for pros, the lightning-fast M2 Pro and the extraordinary M2 Max, the most powerful and efficient chip ever in a Pro laptop. The M2 Pro brings power to take on even more demanding projects. The up to 12-core CPU and the next generation Neuron engine makes Pro workflows fly, from sorting and editing thousands of images to running computation fluid dynamics simulations, and the up to 19-core GPU drives a huge boost in graphics performance for both work and play, as you can see here. So up to 32 gig unified memory, up to a 19-core GPU, 200 gig memory bandwidth, support up to 2 external displays, up to 23 streams of 4K ProRes video playback. As you can see here, the design looks pretty similar to the previous models. This one looks like, I don't know if it's still got the, but that's the application Xcode. The M2 Max, the most powerful and efficient chip ever in a Pro laptop. The M2 Max is engineered to help pros push the boundaries of their integrity and creativity. The same next generation 12-core CPU as the M2 Pro, M2 Max has twice the memory bandwidth, up to 3 times unified memory, and up to 38 GPU cores. So you can render effects, merge massive panoramas, and design extreme 3D geometry on an unprecedented scale. As you can see here, up to 38 core GPU, up to 96 unified gig of memory, 400 gig bandwidth, up to 4 external displays, up to 10 streams of 8K ProRes video player. That's quite impressive. As you can see, this looks like I have no idea. This application is Cinema 4D, as you can see running on this computer, laptop. Choose your size, choose your chip, let it rip. So MacBook Pro is available in 14 and 16-inch models. Each can be configured with the M2 Pro, M2 Max chips and offer next level performance in a laptop. So you got the Logic Pro app and Final Cut Pro, which looks like it's had a bit of a redesign there. So see how the M2 and the M2 Max stack up compared to an Intel-based MacBook Pro. So you got the 14-inch. So this is the 14-inch. We'll do the 14-inch first. I'm just going to get it all. So video transcoding. So a MacBook Pro with the M2 Max. This is faster ProRes transcode performance in Final Cut Pro. So it's up to 15.9% faster with the M2 Max, and up to 11.6 faster with the M2 Pro. So video editing is probably what people mainly use this for. And honestly, if you want a cheaper option, you're going to probably want the M1 Max over the M2 Pro if you're doing higher-end video editing, because the M1 Max has better performance over the M2 Pro, which is very interesting looking at this dynamic on the screen here. So the MacBook Pro, the M2 Max, is 15.7% faster. Then you got the MacBook, the M2 Pro, 9.6% faster. So honestly, if you got an M1 Max and an M1 Pro, I wouldn't look at upgrading your computer yet, because you're not going to get much more. If you've got an M1 Pro, you upgrade to the M2 Pro, you're not going to get much more difference in performance. The biggest performance is the M2 Max, obviously, because it's the top-of-the-line chip. But if you've got all those four machines, I wouldn't be going, I need to go and upgrade to an M2 Max right now because it's the end of the world if I don't. No, I don't think you do. I think it's performance isn't like, yeah. Because if you've got an Intel machine and you're looking to upgrade, you probably might want to look at the M2 Max or the M2 Pro. Or even if you don't have if Apple's still selling like an M1 Max model or M1 Pro, you might want to look at them too, because you're still going to get decent performance with them. So image upscaling is that's very interesting, because the M2 Max, the M2 Pro is the same, so 10.6% faster. You're not, and as you can see, you got the M1 chips here and the Core i7. It's the baseline Mac Pro. Code compiling, 4.4%. Not much difference with the M1 models, really. Photo editing, really, that's cool. So if you're into Photoshop, so you might be able to save money getting the M2 Pro, because you're not actually not a huge difference there going over the M2 Max. But that's up to you, because you might want to do something like, you might want to get a while out of this. And then, so you got 1.9. So motion graphics is, you could get away with either chip. Good performance actually with the i7. So not much of a huge difference with the M1 and the i7, really. So I'll have a look at the 16-inch. So you're getting a little bit performance with the M2, but you're not going to get much. And this is the Mac with the Core i9. So you might see some difference performance here. This is motion graphics. So we've got video transcode. It's obviously 9.4% faster, only 7% faster with the M2. This is going off the Core i9 CPU, but obviously the M1 Max is faster than the M2 Pro. Video editing will be probably pretty similar. Very disappointing actually with the M2 Pro, to tell you the truth. If you look at the M1 Pro, you're actually not losing much with video editing. So really, if you want to do a high density with the video editing, you're going to want the M2 Max for that, because it's 6.5% faster, but you're not really losing much with the M1 Pro or Max CPUs. So pretty much same here with image upscaling, and you're not losing a lot with the M1 chips again. So here you go. You got Xcode, which you're not going to lose much either. 2.5, they're both the same. You're not losing much with obviously the M1 chips again. M1 Max, it's fairly close. Video editing, you're not losing much either with the Apple Silicon chips. 2.5% faster with the Max, M2 Max, and 2.4% faster with M2 Pro. So that's all your basic configurations. Yeah, so that gives you an idea of what you want to order if you're interested in getting these new machines. So you got Adobe Photoshop Lightroom, which is a program I don't really use, but there it is. It looks very vibrant on that display as I'm looking on the. So I've got a 4K monitor. It looks very vibrant. So the 16-inch model has the longest battery life ever in the Mac, in both models remaining just as fast, whether on battery or plugged in. This efficiency is the magic of Apple Silicon. So wherever inspiration strikes or whenever duty calls, run with it. So you got a 14-inch model, you get up to 18 hours of video playback and up to 12 hours of wireless web browsing. Then the 16-inch model, you get up to 22 hours of video playback and up to 15 hours of wireless web browsing. That's not bad. So here's the thermal. So the coolest part is, thanks to the efficiency of Apple Silicon, the fans don't even have to turn on for most of your daily tasks. And for heavier workflows, the advanced thermo systems move air at a low fan speed. And then think huge. The MacBook Pro is built on an all-flash storage architecture and designed to make everyday tasks snappy and responsive. For demanding workflows with large files, configurations up to 8 terabytes deliver even more performance. Smooth operator. So with macOS Ventura, was designed to maximize the compatibilities of Apple Silicon, so you can go to Pro app. So your go-to Pro apps run faster, and multitasking is smoother than ever. With over 15,000 optimized apps and plugins and powerful new macOS features like Stage Manager, you can work smarter, play harder, and go further. So it talks about what you get with the So if we have a look, so software. This just shows you what it looks like in obviously macOS Ventura, the newest version model. And honestly, you're pretty much showing all the applications that are running on these machines, obviously for the test out the specs, push it. So you got main Premiere Pro, STEM, best display ever in the laptop. So that's using Blackmagic's DaVinci Design DaVinci Resolve, probably a pretty good video editor. So Liquid Retina XDR Extreme Dynamic Range brings redefines spectacular highlights, incredible detail in shadows, and vibrant, true-to-life colors. Each display is calibrated in the factory and features pro reference models for HDR color grading, photography design, and print production. ProMotion, making everything from scrolling to gaming incredibly fluid and responsive. ProMotion automatically adjusts to match the movement of content with refresh rates up to 120 Hz. Video editors can even also choose a fixed refresh rate that precisely aligns with their footage. There's the technology of how the screen works. So you got display enclosure less than 4 millimeters thin. It provides the structure of the world's best laptop display. Mini LEDs. Thousands of mini LEDs are grouped into individually controlled local dimming zones for precise brightness and contrast. Customized optical films and diffusers. 7 films and diffusers mix and shape the light efficiency while enabling an ultra-thin design. LCD panel. This integrates a high mobility oxide TFT layer that allows pixels to charge twice as fast as before, enabling refresh rates of up to 120 Hz. 100 nits sustained brightness, 1,600 nits peak brightness, 10,000 mini LEDs, a million to 1 contrast ratio, a billion colors. So here you go. Here's so we've got the 16 by 2 inch model setting at 3,456 by 2,234, 7.7 million pixels, 254 ppi. You got the 14.2, which is 3,024 by 1964, 5.9 million pixels at 254 ppi. Far and away your sharpest look. So I'm guessing there must be improvements to the camera. So look sharp whenever you make and record or take video calls. Whether you're connecting with friends and family across time zones or collaborating with colleagues out in the field, the 1080p camera uses wide aperture to let in more light, combined with a large image sensor for better performance in low light. So studio quality 3 mic array. So with a signal to noise ratio that rivals professional grade microphones, MacBook Pro can capture even the subless sounds and directional beam foaming, minimize background noise so your voice comes through loud and clear. 6-speaker sound system. 4 force cancelling woofers deliver deeper bass and room-filling sound. High-performance tweeters project clearer, fuller vocals and spatial audio. Creates a sophisticated, I can't even pronounce that, sorry, 3-dimensional soundstage when you're playing music or video with Dolby Atmos. So I'm going to take a quick drink. So plug and play. Transfer photos with an SDXC card reader. Connect to TVs or displays with a HDMI output, which now support up to 8K. Plug in accessories and additional displays using 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports and enjoy up to 2 times faster throughput with Wi-Fi 6E. So you got MagSafe 3, Thunderbolt 4 headphone jack, and on this side you have a Thunderbolt 4 port, you have an SDXC port, and HDMI. The MagSafe 3. Expand your real estate. Connect up to 3 ProRes SDR displays and a 4K TV with M2 Max. Connect up to 2 Pro displays XDRs with M2 Pro. The Magic Touch. So you got Touch ID, unlock your Mac, sign into apps and websites with passkeys, use Apple Pay for payments, and make purchases on the Apple TV app. The Magic Keyboard comes with a full height function key row, Touch ID, which gives you a fast and easy secure way to unlock your Mac and sign into apps and sites, as you can see right there. Use AR, you can trade in. So we'll have a look at ordering now, so we can get an idea what we can spec these models out. So you got the 14-inch. So here are the 2 models. So you can get an M2 Pro with a 10-core CPU, 16-core GPU, 16 gig unified memory, and 512 storage. So that's your base model starting at $3,199. And then you can jump up to an M2 Pro with 12-core CPU, 19-core GPU, 16 gig unified memory with a terabyte of storage. That's at $4,000. Then you got pretty much, I think, the top spec, which is about $5,000. Well, it's not the top spec, but this is a M2 Max spec. $5,000 with 12-core CPU, 30-core GPU, 32 gig unified memory, and 1 terabyte SSD storage. So we'll do a whole spec M2 Pro model. This is on the 16-inch, the 14-inch. So the 16-inch will be $4,000 for the base model with the same similar configuration. Or these are pretty much the same configuration, just with different storage. And you're paying, and that's like $4,299. And then the M2 Max with the 12-core, 38-core, 32 gig unified with terabyte is $5,599. You get space gray or the silver. So we'll do the 14-inch and we'll do the configuration on the M2 chip. So this is what you want. You can do this. You can add an M2 Pro with 19 cores, M2 Max with 30 cores or 38 cores, and that's a difference price of $700. So you can go 30. So you got 32 gig. And you want, say, 8 terabytes of storage. That's almost $8,000 there. So let's add another $700 and get the upgraded top of the line GPU, or like CPU, sorry, and go up to that. You're almost paying $10,000 for that. That is crazy. That's just a 14-inch model. That's not even the 16-inch model. So if we go and have a look at the 16-inch model, we'll go back. And we'll click this one. So an M2 Pro fully spec'd with the M2 Pro chip. So we'll go through this one and we'll go 8 terabytes. That's 8,200. Now let's add the top of the line CPU with the highest amount of RAM, highest amount of storage. That's over $10,000, almost $11,000 right there. That is crazy big. But honestly, people that are going to spend that much on laptop are going to use it for a while. So that's the MacBook Pro, but the prices are getting crazy. 10 grand for a laptop. Wow, you could buy a nice used car for that amount. So let's have a look at the Mac Mini. So the Mac Mini is pretty much the perfect lap computer for anyone that's low end who is not like into like professional apps like you want the MacBook Pro or the Mac Studio or obviously the Mac Pro, so on. This is perfect. So we'll learn more about it. So the design looks similar to the M1 model. So Mac Mini, more muscle, more hustle. Mac Mini with the M2 packs the speed you need to get more done faster, and the M2 Pro takes it to a whole new level, bringing a Pro chip to a Mac Mini for the first time. Add to that a versatile array of ports, and you'll get the desktop ready to flex in any setup, no matter what chip you choose. So it starts at $1,000. So it's supercharged by the M2 Pro, similar to what I've read out on the So the base model M2 is 8-core, 10-core, up to 24 gig and only 100 gig memory bandwidth, and it's obviously doubled with the M2 Pro with more, obviously, RAM and more cores. The next generation of Apple Silicon makes the hardest working Mac Mini we ever built. From rich presentation to immersive gaming, the M2 flies through work and play. And the M2 Pro crushes computer-intensive tasks like editing massive images and 8K ProRes video. You can look inside. So we're comparing to the Intel Mac Mini. So it's also got a comparison to the 27-inch with the Core i7 and Radeon Pro 5500 XT plus the Mac Mini with Core i7 baseline. So this is photo editing. So you get, going off the Mac Mini baseline, 4.7%, and the M2 is 3.5% faster. And obviously the Mac Mini with M1 is actually lower than the i7 iMac. Image upscaling. You'll notice the Mac Mini performs better in this field than the iMac and also obviously the Core i7. And the difference is quite huge here. So the M2 base model is 22 times faster. It's actually not much difference between the M2 and the M2 Pro. It's quite interesting with image upscaling, but it's 24% faster on the Pro. Video editing. This is probably where you might see a bit of difference. And actually, the Mac Mini with the M2 Pro is 18.8% faster, and the Mac Mini with the M2 is 9.8. So you see a huge difference with the M2 and the M2 Pro. The iMac 27-inch is faster with video editing than the M1, which is quite interesting because that's going to be interesting because the M1 beats the iMac in certain aspects, and obviously the Mac Mini with the Core i7 struggles. Now that's just quite interesting. This is the video transcoding, so the rendering from Final Cut Pro. So 12.6 times faster with the M2 Pro. M2 is 7.2 times faster. Believe it or not, the M1 and the iMac are pretty close. So iMac is slightly quicker off the mark. And the Mac Mini with the Core i7 is the slowest. Again, code compiling is not much difference. So it's only 3.2% faster with the M2 Pro. But with the M2, it's just 1.9% faster. And the M1 Mac Mini and the iMac 27-inch are pretty much neck and neck the same. And the Mac Mini Core i7 is like a little bit behind, so it actually doesn't too bad for compiling. Productivity is what everyone's going to buy a Mac Mini for. They're not going to use it for the high-intensive tasks, or just the basic word processing. A lot of businesses use them just for desktop workstations and stuff like that because you don't need high-end equipment for that. So you're not going to see much difference between the M1 and the M2 Pro, only like up to 1.9% faster and 1.8% faster. And believe it or not, the i7 Mac Mini and the iMac 27-inch are pretty close. I'm guessing that GPU might give it a little bit different, and the obviously more RAM and maybe a quicker CPU in the iMac. Other than that, pretty similar. So Mini does that. So with macOS Ventura, you your go-to apps run lightning fast on a Mac Mini with Microsoft 365 to Adobe Creative Cloud to Zoom, and over 15,000 apps and plugins are optimized for the M2 and the M2 Pro. Organize your apps and windows with Stage Manager so you can stay focused while seamlessly moving between tasks. Dive into multiplayer gaming sessions with SharePlay or start a to-do list on your iPhone and pick up on your Mac Mini without missing a beat. And there you go. You can see the Apple Studio display right there. So design. So whether you choose an M2 and M2 Pro, the performance and efficiency of Apple Silicon allows Mac Mini to blow away desktops many times its size, all in an iconic 19.7-inch centimeter square frame. Towering performance minus the tower. So memory, you won't forget. Unified memory on the Mac does more than traditional RAM. A single pool of high bandwidth, low latency memory allows Apple Silicon to move data more efficiently, so everything you do is fluid. Configure your Mac Mini between 8 and 24 gigs of memory on the M2 and 16 and 32 gig on the M2 Pro. So faster SSD storage. So Mac Mini comes up with all flash storage up to a whopping 8 terabyte SSD for all your photos and video libraries, files, and apps. That's up to 4 times as much as the previous generation. Privacy and security. The M2 and macOS Ventura give Mac Mini industry-leading privacy and security features beyond anything in its class, including built-in protections against malware and viruses. The next generation Secure Enclave helps keep your system and your data protected. So versatility, all systems go. With the next level performance with an array of ports and compact size, this mini desktop is perfect for an impressive range of uses and ready to take on whatever you do. Zoom, Microsoft, PowerPoint, Notes. So you got it's doing a whole variety of multitask using the new Stage Manager feature in Ventura. As you can see here, Mac Mini turns any task into a powerful workspace. So you got gaming, you got audio and visual, presentation of Final Cut Pro, software development, Xcode, and so creativity, take it all in. With 2 or 4 Thunderbolt 4 ports and 2 USB-A ports, HDMI, Wi-Fi 6E, and Gigabit Ethernet, Mac Mini connects to just about anything. And if you want to go in faster networking, but you can configure your Mac Mini with a 10 gigabyte Ethernet for up to 10 times the throughput. So you got actually more ports. So the M2 just has the same configuration as the M1, but the M2 Pro adds an extra 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, and obviously I think it gives you the faster Ethernet. So Thunderbolt 4, transfer data is up to 40 gigabyte, charge and power external devices, and expand your workspace with external displays that can output video up to 6K resolution and 60 Hz with Thunderbolt 4. HDMI unlocks up to 8K video input. So Wi-Fi 6E, another first for Mac Mini. Wi-Fi 6E delivers better all-around performance and up to 2.4 gigabit of throughput for super fast file transfers or backing up to Time Machine. Accessories, deck out your desks. So with its breathtaking 27-inch 5K Retina display, a 12-megapixel camera with center stage, and high-fidelity 6-speaker sound system, Studio Display helps you take Mac Mini to the max. And convenient wireless Magic accessories like Magic Keyboard with Touch ID to complete the package, as you can see right here. And you can have a look. And what we'll do is we'll go order now, so I can give you guys a price ID. So the base model with 256 gig SSD storage, 8 gig is $1,000. Then to jump up to 512 with the same configuration is $1,300. And then to get the 10-core, 16-core, 16 gig unified memory, 512 gigs SSD is $2,000. So we'll do an M2 highly specced out. So we want to go 24 gig. We want to go 2 terabyte. We'll go. So you're paying almost $3,000, which actually isn't too bad for a Mac. I know I'm going to say this, but that isn't too bad. I think a lot of people will even just get the base M2 model, unless you're going to do a bit more intensive tasks like heavy video editing, photo editing. You'd go for the Pro or even the Mac Studio. So you can go. So So obviously the base model is $2,000. We'll just say that. So add $450 for the upgraded GPU with the 19 core. We'll add the 32 gig memory. We'll add 8 terabytes. So you've just actually doubled your price up to almost $6,500. So $6,649 for that fully spec'd out. So I'm going to go back to the screen and my thoughts on these products. Well, it's a good upgrade. Like, I don't see anyone with an M1 machine, like M1 Pro Max. Like, I don't see them upgrading to the new MacBook Pros. But it's nice improvements. They seem to be a bit faster in certain aspects, but you're not missing out a lot. But the Mac Mini has, I think, the best upgrade out of the two. Especially if you get the Pro variant, which more ports. I feel it's a bit of you can do more with it. It's a bit more pro. But I'm curious to see how that's going to work with like the Mac Studio. What's that? I'm guessing it's going to have the M2. It's going to have the similar architecture of the MacBook Pros, 14 and 16 inch with the M2 Pro and M2 Max. But it's good to have an extra ports. Saves you less with the dongles. So the M1 Mac Mini actually has less ports than the Intel Mac Mini, which was disappointing. So anyway, that's the Apple Mac Mini. So now I'm going to jump to my server because I'm going to actually get Windows 8.1 history out. Because it's actually Windows 8.1 has been out of support for at least 8 days now. So I'm just going to get on my iPhone here and just look it up. So Windows 8.1 is basically Windows 8. So we'll start off with Windows 8 because that's how it started. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share screen, go window. Let me share my Mac server. I'm hoping you guys are going to see this. So I'm going to have to share to you guys my entire screen. Do apologize. So I switched over to I've got the iPad here to have a look. So hopefully you're going to see my server. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up, because I'm doing it on Intel because I find the 64-bit version of Windows actually works better on the Intel Macs. So we're just going to open up VirtualBox. So I'm going to delete all these. So we're going to go new virtual machine. Having issues here. Oh no. Is it frozen on me? It has frozen on me. Hold on. Oh no, here we go. I want to change it because I want to run it. There we go. So we'll go storage drive and we'll go. I believe I have virtual images folder somewhere. Virtual images right there. Save it in there. Just because I've got more, I'm going to go Windows 8.1, 64-bit. And we'll give it go 124 times 4. It's 496. So if I go, that'll be pretty much what I want. Just that 4 gig RAM will keep it a bit happy. Create a virtual. create. Oh, I'm going to name it. I'm going to go Windows 8.1. Give it, 40 gig will do. Now we're going to go to settings. Okay. Start. What? What's it failed? Oh, it's given it 2 gig. Interesting. I don't do 32-bit. We'll remove it and we'll start again. Now let's try this. No. That is bizarre. It's not working. Anyway, I won't be able to do the install for you. Now let's talk about Windows 8.1. So Windows 8.1. Obviously, support ended. So Windows 8.1 was released to Windows 8 was released to manufacturing on August 1st, 2012. It was probably one that and it introduced a new interface, more designed for touchscreen. So you had the Metro UI. They dropped support for original Windows 8 in the 13th of December 2016. The predecessor came out a year later, which was the Windows 8.1, which technically was just a service pack update for Windows 8, really, if you looked at it. It introduced and made change to the user interface. It was more tablet friendly. People weren't a fan of Windows 8 because it got rid of the start button. But by Windows 8.1, which I thought was a good improvement over Windows 8, gave you the start button back, but you still had the Metro UI, which I thought at the time looked pretty cool. The Metro UI looked different. It was taking Microsoft differently because honestly, the operating systems were it's the same. So it came with, and it worked really well on low-end hardware. That's what I liked about Windows 8.1. So, and it worked. I had it installed on an old XP machine, and it worked fine. It was performing quite well. Actually, some stuff it was a bit quicker than the XP machine. So the mainstream support ended on January 9th, 2018, and went into extended support on January 10, 2000, and extended support ended on 10th of January 2023. And I believe embedded will lose support in July. So pretty much 8.1 fixed all the issues, updated the Internet Explorer, fixed the UI's issues, made it a bit more usable. But people could just do third party with Clan Win and put a start menu in if they didn't want if they weren't a fan. So Windows 8.1 pretty much came in Windows 8 and then Windows 8.1 Pro, and the server variants were Windows Server 2012 and 2012 R2. The market share isn't huge, but I believe Chrome and major software is dropping support for Windows 8 and 7 now. 7 still has a huge market share compared to Windows 8. Obviously, Windows 10 has the most market share. And anyway, I'm going to end the stream now. I do apologize for not doing much, but anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.